and this is tape 1 of side 2. And we're going to continue this thing of the summer of about June of 1945. And in 1945, well, I guess I must have been a senior in high school. So I met this beautiful gal up there in Lockhart in the tape library. Didn't know what a tape library was. I guess that's where you go in there and study to learn nothing. Don't know exactly what it was. But she thought this old fellow was all right because, I wore clean clothes in those days. I always had a nice pair of khaki pants, you see. And they were well washed and ironed and all that good stuff. But anyway, so her name, Elizabeth Lell Cardwell, and she used, and Elizabeth Lell Cardwell, and then later on, she had a last name after that. The name was Kelly. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh yeah. But man, things were tough. In the wintertime out here in that fireplace, he'd throw sweet potatoes in that cotton-picking fireplace. An hour or so later, we had some good old dessert. Oh yeah, sweet potatoes. That's the good old days, I guess, you see. But now, back in the 30s and 40s, I don't remember what kind of vehicles we had out here. I can't remember all that. But I just don't know. I guess I wasn't into vehicles too much, but I don't remember what all we had. I really don't know. I know we had this 2-car garage. And I don't know, we had that smokehouse and all that good stuff. But anyway, I just don't know what all we had out here. But anyway, so that I don't know whether that's good old days or bad old days, but oh boy, I don't know whether I want to change anything in my life or not, except that I wish I had more money and I wish I had something else. But anyway, but never did make a lot of money, and that's the way it goes. So they say you can't take it away. But anyway, back to the story here. Story of Hambone K's life, you see. Well, I do remember out here in the 40s and 50s or whatever it might have been that my dad, he grew lots of watermelons, all kinds of watermelons and cantaloupes. Man, sold those things every summer. Sometimes we'd take them to Lockhart and peddle them up around the square, you see. Sometimes we'd take them down to Luton and put them on trains. Sometimes people come out here and load them up out in the field. Boy, we had watermelons out here under these shade trees in the summertime and cantaloupes, and that's the only time my dad was ever happy, I guess, when he was counting them coins. I don't know. But it was a hard life. It was a hard life, and yeah, it was a hard life. And let's see. Now, my mother was a Garner, and her dad was named Sam Garner, and he was a Chisholm Trail driver. And her mother's name was Mary Hossel. And they lived down here at Tilton for years. They built a house down there after he went on the Chisholm Trail for 4 years, in 69, 70, and 71. They built a house down there between McMinn and Tilton. The house still standing. Built it in 1873. Okay. So, back to my story here. While I'm talking about that, you see, I did a lot of things first, and I did a lot of things last, but there was a whole bunch of folks in my mother's family, about 10 or 12 kids, I think. I've forgotten just how many right now. I ain't going to go figure it out. But there was 54 grandchildren on my mother's side, on the Garner side. And who was last? Hambone Kelly. Oh yeah, I was the 54th and last. Well, back up a few more feet here. I know when I was a kid, I got poison ivy real bad, poison oak, and I still get it. I can just think about that stuff and I get to itching. But anyway, I was just allergic to that stuff. But anyway, so, when I was a little kid, there wasn't no such thing as We didn't have this indoor plumbing, I don't guess, nothing like that, no. Didn't have no bathtub, nothing like, no. In the wintertime, we'd get outside in a number 3 wash tub on the south side of the house. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where we took a bath. We had a water well out here and a cistern and all that good stuff for years and years and years. And I guess around maybe 1946, I guess maybe my last year in high school or something like that, well, we finally got electricity out here. Big time. So then we got electric lights. We got all kind of electric things out here and so forth. But anyway, I don't know, but boy, oh boy. So in somewhere, I guess, in 1946, well, I was a senior in high school, still riding that cotton-picking yellow bus. Okay. And I met this gal up there named Elizabeth Lell Cardwell. Yep. And I don't know how I met her. I think I met her in the study hall, the library, whatever you call them things, a place you go in there and do nothing, I guess, I don't know. Seemed like that in 1946, so we started going together a little bit, and I was already a senior, and she was just a freshman, I guess, so. Anyway, I'm going to stop this program right now. Okay. Well, I got out of high school in 1946, around May, I guess, and my folks didn't have no money to send me to college, and I wasn't smart enough anyway, I don't guess, and didn't care much about nothing like that, and never liked to study, so I guess I made another mistake. I made lots of them my day. I did a few things right, but I did a lot of things wrong. But anyway, that's the way it was. I never did make my fortune in nothing, but I didn't care much for this farm life out here because it didn't look too promising to me because I just didn't see much to it, but except a lot of hard work. So I found out real quick, though, that, well, maybe it took me a little while, but found out pretty soon that you ain't gonna never make much nothing and get nowhere ahead by working with somebody else unless you married a boss's daughter or luck into a lot of money or something, big business, something like that. But I didn't have nothing deal like that. So when I got out of high school, my brother-in-law, Vernon Wood, he worked down here at McMinn, Texas at Jam Chamberlain grocery store. Married my sister. They didn't make a hell of a lot of money either, but anyway. So in 1946, he got me a job working Kreuz's meat market in Lockhart. Oh, yeah. So I left out of here right out of high school in 1946 and went all the way to Lockhart, 10 miles west of here, big time. And got me a job working Kreuz's meat market, make me $20 a week from Monday morning at 7 o'clock to about 6 or 6:30 on a Saturday night. 6 days a week, I made $20 a week, fiddly deal. Oh, baby. Real blast, you see. Oh, yeah. So I went to Lockhart right after high school, and I got me a place to stay in it's called a boarding house. I believe that's what it's called back in those days. Tate Hotel, another one of my kinfolks. Eddie Tate was her name. She was a Kelly before that, somewhere along the line. And up on San Antonio Street, she had a big old, I believe about a 2-story hotel. So I got me a place up there for $10 a week. And it was only about 3 blocks from Kreuz's Market, so I could walk back and forth and have no damn automobile, naturally. So she charged me $10 a week, room and board. And I was up on the 2nd floor, and so she fed us 3 good meals a day. And I walked down to Kreuz's and in the morning go back over to eat at noon and then go back at night and didn't do nothing, didn't have no money and nothing. That, like I said, in 1946, so about 17 years old, I guess. And so on a Saturday night, I'd go over to the pig show there in Lockhart, bake to it, cost a quarter. And you get an ice cream cone, and you could play the jukebox over there for a nickel, or jukebox, or shuffle the marble machine, whatever that was, and still had, $9 or $10 left, so that's all right. So anyway, I was so dumb it's unreal, but never went to college, nothing like that. Don't know nothing about that, you see. Oh yeah. So at Kreuz Meat Market, making $120 a week. I stocked the shelves and canned groceries and so forth, and a lot of times especially on the weekends, I'd work back there behind the barbecue pit, standing up there all day long and slicing that barbecue and selling that barbecue and sausage and all that good stuff. We had all that good stuff we wanted to eat, and it cost nothing for us, but I get tired of that. I drank soda water back in those days, and I think soda water was a nickel, and you could get 3 rings of sausage for a quarter. You could buy individually, you get 10 cents a piece. If you didn't have but a nickel, we'd cut you one in half, give you half of one for a nickel. Bag. I remember all those days. So that was this is 1999. That was about that's damn near 50 years ago, 47, 48, whatever it was. Anyway, long time ago. So I stayed up there about 20 months, and somewhere up there, well, I making all that money, $20 a week. I bought me a little old 19 and 29 a Model A. Didn't have no top, but it had a rumble seat and had only one door, and their battery was dead all the time. Real deal. And it cost me $20. This first car I bought, $20. Don't know why I saved up $20, but I got $20 extra. Oh yeah, had a real blast. Anyway, I guess that's what you call the good old days. Mm-hmm. So at this time, and I guess it's still in 1946, maybe or 1947, I don't know. And so I got this old 29 Model A, and I still went out with Elizabeth Lil Carter, and she lived at 1034 Magnolia Street. And that was up San Antonio Street going west towards Maxwell and Martindale and San Marcos and so forth. And so I went out with her once in a while, not very much. She was still in high school, I guess, yeah. But she didn't get out of high school until 1949, I believe. And so I went with her a little bit, and every once in a while, maybe on the weekend, we'd go to the movie. It cost a quarter apiece. And there were a few times we went up to take this old Model A I had, and we'd try to chug it on out to the Park Road out there at Lockhart State Park. And I never was worried about getting down that sucker unless the brakes went out, but I was always just a little bit concerned back in those days how in the holy mackerel I'm going to get up that hill. But we made it all the time, and when I parked that thing, I'd park it on the side of a hill or incline or downcline or upgrade or downgrade or what it might have been, because I didn't have enough money to buy a new battery, and the battery was always dead, so I had one foot on the ground and one on the running board, and put that sucker in neutral and push like holy mackerel, and away we'd go. But it had that rumble seat. All the girls loved that rumble seat. Anyway, so I worked up there at Kreuz, I guess, 15, 20 months, 20, 25, 30 months, whatever it may be, and I quit. And then I come back out of home and stayed out there at MacMin, and that didn't work out. I didn't want to be no damn farmer. Nothing like that. I wasn't no farmer, but anyway. So, come along about March of 1948. Yeah, 1948. Well, my brother-in-law, Vernon Woods, he got me a job. He was still working out at MacMin and James Henry Grocery Store. And there's a seismograph crew come through here. Never heard of seismograph crew. Didn't know what they're talking about. Didn't know anything about it for a long time after. Anyway, so he got me a job with those folks, and that was March 15th of 1948, and I went with that seismograph stuff and oil exploration, looking for oil and gas and everything else you could think of, petroleum exploration. 38 years later, I got out of seismograph business. I'll declare. Fiddle-dee. Oh, big. Had a long experience with seismograph work. Oh, yeah. So March 15th started my exploration days. 1948, went to work for General Geophysical Company, a seismic company out of Houston, Texas. They had an office down on Post Oak Road, just north of where the gallery is today, and this is 1999. But anyway, that story will come a little later. So we were working out here around MacMin, and they were paying me. They give me a job as a jug hustler. Didn't know what a jug hustler was. Didn't even know what the hell they were doing. But anyway, they gave me a job of $37.50 a week for working for 50 hours. Now, boy, that's great. So I was this jug hustler. And anyway, we worked out there in the hills around, worked right around here where I live today in MacMin, and worked out towards Taylorsville and Delhi and somewhere in there. And so I was this jug hustler feller. But first of all, I'll tell you something about seismograph right now. Okay, this seismograph business, back in those days, I was this jug hustler, and I gave it a better name in years later. But first of all, I didn't know nothing about it at the time, like I just mentioned, but I know a heck of a lot about it now. But out on the field crew, when you're looking for oil and gas, oil exploration, gas exploration, anything you may find a mineral likes, well, you have a crew that's consisting of an office and a field crew. In the office crew, you've got the party chief, and he had a couple of computer operators, not like computers today, but living real people, computers. And those folks in the office, well, they interpreted the records after we brought them in from the field. So out in the field, there's my cup of tea. Well, out in the field, you have, sometimes you had what you call a party manager, and he was in charge of the whole field crew. Sometimes we didn't have party managers. And other than that, the crew consisted of, first of all, a surveyor and a rodman, and they'd go out and lay out the, stake out the land, the prospect of where we was going to work, and go and go get permits and all that stuff. Permit men also we had. So they go permit that stuff and get the survey out there and the rodman and stake out, and they would survey this prospect, and every 1,220 foot, well, the surveyor would put out a flag, and that meant where the driller was going to come along next. He and his water truck man, they'll come along and they're going to drill a hole there. And after they drilled a hole there, well, here come the recording truck and the shooting truck. And the shooting truck had the dynamite in it and all that good stuff. The recording truck had all the instruments in there and so forth. And so on the shooting truck, you had a shooter and a shooter's helper. And on the recording outfit, where they did the seismic instrumentation and took the actual records, there was an observer, recorder, what do you want to call them, and he had what's called a junior observer, a JO. And also you had a jug hustler. Well, I was that jug hustler. $37.50 a week. Didn't know what they was talking about, but anyway, learned in a hurry. So I hustled these jugs. And so the office was down in Lubin, Texas. Okay? And the first party chief, I remember his name, that doesn't matter anymore, but the crew was down there just for a week or so, and the old Hambone Kelly out here, well, every time I mentioned poison oak or poison ivy, I'd get it. So first thing I knew, I got poison oak and poison ivy before the crew left Lubin. And I stayed up. Mary Carter wanted me to come and stay with her. So I went up there to stay with her while I had the poison oak and poison ivy. That was my future mother-in-law, you see. Mary Carter, okay. But anyway, after I got rid of the poison oak and poison ivy, whatever I had, the crew had just moved on to Rosenberg, Texas. And here goes my career of doodlebugging in the field, which I did for a lot of years, from 1948 until almost 1962, excluding a couple of years that I was in the Army. So, here I was about 19 years old, I guess, and so after I get rid of my poison oak and poison ivy, itches and scratching and all that stuff, I guess I hitchhiked me a ride to Rosenberg, Texas. Never heard of Rosenberg, Texas. Never heard of a lot of places in Texas till I ventured on these places years later. Okay. So get down to Rosenberg, Texas, and I'm still this jug hustler. So we work out there, and I can tell you the names of a lot of people I still work with in 1948. The first observer, his name was Prior Black. Oh, yeah. And the old fellow, the driller, one of them drillers, his name was Hunt. His last name, I don't remember what his first name on it, don't know what his Hunt. But anyway, that's the way it was. Oh, yeah. So this is the spring of 1948. And I made just $37.50 a week for working 50 hours. And if we got rained out or we broke down or something, or we had to work on a Saturday or Sunday, to guarantee that we're going to give our client, whatever oil company we're working for, we give them that 50 hours a week, and how much money that General Geophysical made it, I ain't got a clue in the world. I wasn't that in that kind of deal. But anyway, I was just a poor old fellow working out in the field. But I know that we didn't get paid no time and a half, and we went working overtime. Well, I figured out one time I worked so many hours, a few weeks there, I got down to make 11 cents an hour. Oh yeah, big time. That was the years before there was such thing as minimum wage and time and a half and all that good stuff. But so in 1948 at that time, well, I'd get me a room, just an old room, just some people's house, just an old shack room about the size of an outhouse, I guess, big enough to have a bed in there, and they shared the bathroom with me, and I'd have to eat out, and that's $5 a week, man. Big deal. It cost me $5 a week for a room, you see. Didn't have no radio, didn't have no, well, that was way before years of television. Didn't have no newspaper, didn't have no money, nothing like that. And so I'd eat out all the time. And so this eating out, we'd go down to the little cafe there in Rosenberg. And I did this for a hell of a lot of years, you know, all around everywhere. But anyway, not everywhere, but a lot of places. I think we'd get chicken fried steak about $1, but anyway, and in the field every day we'd take our lunch, so we'd have Vienna sausage and crackers, peanut butter, jelly and bread, you know, all that nice good stuff. And go out there like that, you know. And so we worked down there around Highway 6 down there going towards Altaloma. I can't remember that little place, and all around Katy and everywhere in there, and I was still hustling them damn jugs. See, when they'd lay out the cable, J.O. would lay out the cable, then I'd come along, he'd drop the jugs off, and I'd come along by walking behind the poor old fella I was, and I'd hook these seismometers to the cable and made sure I planted them real good in the top of the ground so they wouldn't shimmy and shake when we took the shot. That's where the recording come from. And them old jugs, I believe they were big suckers and had a little old rope on them for a handle, and I believe they weighed about 8 pounds apiece. And I remember them things clanking into my kneecaps and all that stuff. Good old days, you see. So anyway, that went along for a while, and then, well, naturally, all my doodlebug career, we never did stay too long in one place. I guess the people we worked for, they didn't want these people and these town folks to, you know, wear out our welcome and all, let us wear out our welcome and all that stuff. So we moved a hell of a lot. But after Rosenberg, we ventured on down to Beaumont, Texas. and that's between Houston and Orange before you get to the Louisiana border, before you get to Kunas land. And I lived down there, and I got me a room in a hotel. I mean, a rat den on the main drag of Beaumont. Don't remember the street number, street or nothing like that. Up on the second floor, and so me and all these other 20 or 30, 40 idiots up there, we took a bath at the same place, filthy, stinking mess you ever saw in your life. $5 a week. We'd eat down to Piccadilly cafeteria, still get them damn hamburger steaks and chicken fried steaks for $1 with French fries and a salad and a glass of water, a glass of tea. That's before I drank beer, you see. Oh yeah. So, since we moved all the time and everything, well, I wasn't old enough to drink, so we get paid every 2 weeks, and what little it was, and I didn't know what a bank was, I guess I'd heard of them, but didn't know nothing about them, but naturally we didn't have no bank accounts traveling over the country all the time. So after we get paid every 2 weeks, we'd go down to the liquor store, and I wasn't drinking no liquor, beer, nothing like that, but they'd cash their checks for us. And we just put the cash in their pocket. It didn't amount to nothing anyway. But the older fellas, they'd get a bunch of booze and whiskey, and I don't blame them for having time one on every day. So what kind of life we led was a hell of a mess. But anyway, so down there in Beaumont, that was another deal. And yeah. So I got my first driver's license on the main drag of Beaumont, Texas. I think it's right down there, sort of in front of this hotel where I was hanging out. And we had this 2-ton recording truck with instruments in there and everything. And I had to learn how to, I had to learn this stuff, by reading these laws and everything about how you're supposed to drive and all that stuff, plus getting the driver's test. I got this old 2-ton deal down, went down parallel parked on the main drag of Beaumont. Didn't hit no curb, didn't hit no cars, didn't hit no parking meters, and passed. And I had a commercial driver's license for, I guess, 30, 40, I don't know how many years. A lot of years, just a few years ago. Anyway, that's the way it was. And then we still had our office somewhere there in Beaumont, and I don't know who the party chief was at that time or anything like that. I've forgotten. And then a little bit later on, we went down to, like I said, we moved all the time. So after a while there in Beaumont, they sent us back down to Kreuz and Hambone, which is a couple little rat holes, a couple little towns just east of Galveston down there. And we lived out there for a while. We stayed just like something, and then we didn't live nowhere. We just stayed here a week or so, a month or so. So we stayed up there in them cabins right by the bay job down there by Galveston Bay, naturally. And we was down there in Galveston, right by Galveston. So anyway, we lived in them not second story, but we was right on the beach looking, and I was looking for gals every night, because like I said, I was only about 19 years old. So we had jeeps and pickups, and we'd run up and down the beach every night trying to pick up a gal friend and all that stuff. And we lived over in them little old place. We'd climb upstairs, so if high water would come along, we'd be up 15 foot high. And the screened-in porch, it was a real blast. I mean, that's where we worked and everything and lived, and ate out again at all them cafes. And back then we'd go into a service station down there, still had slot machines, 1948. Go into the service station and play them slot machines for a nickel, dime, a quarter. Well, I didn't have many nickels and dime quarters spare, but I do remember playing a few of them. So that's down around Kreuz and Hambone. Oh yeah, that's the good old days, you see. Oh yeah. But you see, while we were down there by Galveston Bay and all that good stuff, the Gulf of Mexico and all that good mess, we didn't work out in the water. We were still working on land. All up and down those roads there, going halfway from Beaumont, wrapped around Winnie. I used to have a nice place to eat up there, little, cafeteria-like places. I can't remember what you call them right now, but real nice place to eat for about $1. We'd work on them highways going all the way down to Galveston, just on the land. So after Beaumont, we moved again. This time went to Palestine, Texas. Oh yeah. Piney Woods, East Texas, fiddle-dee-dee. Oh, be, you know it. So we get over there this summertime. So the blooming idiots I worked for, General Geophysical, they wasn't very smart, and I wasn't smart as them because I didn't know what the hell we was doing anyway. But anyway, they told me we were trying to find oil and gas, and I don't know. We did find some. We helped people find some. Okay. So we get over to Palestine, summer, I guess, in 1949.